All right, let's take a step back. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we had USL come out and say, "Hey, we're doing a new division. It's going to be Division 1, right?" So you've got, what do they call it? Division 1?
It's just Division 1 right now.
Division 1.
They haven't named it yet.
They haven't named it. It'll probably be the USL Premiership or something. Anyway, USL Division 1. Then you've got USL Championship, which is currently the top division in USL. Yep. And then you're going to have USL League 1. So you got 3 leagues.
Yes.
That's what it's going to be. Okay, so now you've got that. They're going to make a name change in 2 years, kind of just giving it a name change. Just a little bit of a rebrand, if you will. Yes. Okay. Now, all the owners, I think there was 42 owners in total.
Yes, 42 clubs that voted on this.
Voted on this, and they had, what do they call it, a super majority?
Yes, and I can define that for you if you need me to.
Before we say what they voted on, but tell me what a super majority is.
So so everyone knows a majority is 50% plus 1. A super majority is often require a higher percentage, so it could be 60%, it could be 2/3, it could be 3/4.
Okay.
I don't know. They didn't say in the article with the Athletic what was required, if it was 75% or not, but a supermajority probably meant at least 2/3 or more probably were approval of it.
Okay, so that makes sense. All right, so let's just say 2/3 or more voted yes. We want promotion and relegation in the USL.
Yep.
So it's happening, but it's not starting for 3 years, correct? So we're going to run
2028.
We're going to run 2 seasons here without Pro-Rel.
Yep.
Then we're going to do Pro-Rel.
Yep.
Okay. Listen, this is the first time in professional sports here in America the Pro-Rel is going to be happening. I mean, Brooks, if there's ever a time you should have pushed the applause button, that was it.
My bad.
Okay. Now, I read this story as it was breaking this morning, and I wasn't quite as excited as I am now about it, but I do have hesitations.
Sure.
I have a lot of hesitations about this because currently, if you're a USL team, you have to pay a franchise fee.
Sure.
It is a franchise. Okay.
Yes.
And the top division right now, USL Championship, the franchise fee is north of $650,000 per season.
It depends. It depends what it varies all the time. Obviously, it goes up and whatever. But I will say this: at least it's not like MLS where it's all about the league and league owns it and it goes back into the league. Once you buy in, you're an individual club, and so it's a little. But I understand there's an expansion fee for sure.
Now there's an expansion fee in the lower leagues too.
Yes.
So moving to 2028, let's pretend 2028 is Pro-Rel starting now today. Yay! My team gets relegated down. Can I go further down the chain outside of USL?
Like outside of the pro status?
So we've got Division 1, Championship, League 1. Yeah. If I fall all the way down the ladder and I'm the bottom team in League 1.
So League 1 is the bottom.
So can I fall out of that?
You cannot fall out of that.
Okay.
That is what they have established in Paul Tenorio's article. They did say you can, at least for now, when it starts, if it started in 2028 or, it started today, you cannot fall past League 1.
Can anybody, and so that means if no one can fall out, no one can come in. It's still a little bit of a, it's a pyramid, but it's a closed pyramid.
It's a smaller pyramid, let's call it that.
Okay, but it's a start for Pro-Rel. And at some point, we hope that it will be an open pyramid.
Correct.
And maybe that's what they're looking towards in the future, you will hope.
Correct. And let's further expand upon
Please.
That. So if USL League 1's the bottom, I'm sure that's USL telling the USL 2 clubs, okay, or like as a league office, how do we, if we want to make it completely open, how do we make it so it's easy for our USL 2 teams to come up and be a pro side?
Right.
And then if our pro teams fall into semi-pro, we'll call it at that point, how does that league generate revenue? Because there's no TV money, obviously. In England, National League, at least you have some type of TV, right? Like,
yes.
You have some type of revenue coming in and sponsors and everything. And all these USL2 teams, they gain sponsors, local. That's how they pay for a lot of their stuff. Plus, they draw fans. But I think if you're going to do a full relegation pyramid and you're going to dive into USL2 where the amateur clubs are, you're going to have to set that up where whoever falls, how do you, what's the payout or how do you move up and how many, because there's there's over 100 some USL2 teams.
Right.
So how do you work that? That's the thing.
There's a lot of work to be done here.
Yes.
But they've given themselves 2 years, 2 full seasons to get a lot of this worked out.
Yes.
So we'll use the Premiership and the English Football Association. We'll use the English Pyramid as our example.
That's the typical one.
And that's the one everybody in the world really looks at and regards as the pyramid that we understand. And so Premiership team, this happened to Sunderland several years ago, right? Sunderland Till I Die, the documentary was all about this, right? Sunderland, they dropped down to the Championship. And what ends up happening as Sunderland dropped down out of the Premiership to the Championship, they were given a parachute payment because the Football Association, everybody involved in that pyramid understands that when your club drops down, it's a huge loss. It's a huge loss in revenue. So we're going to give you parachute payments. Currently, or most recently, it was about $90 million over 3 years. And that's to take care of wages. That's to take care of loss of income from TV and everything like that. So, and then Sunderland dropped down again. And then they dropped down again. This is a very real possibility that this happens because players who are good enough don't want to be relegated and they'll get purchased up by other teams. Now, here in the USA, if someone drops down from USL Division 1 to the USL Championship, is there a parachute payment? And if so, how much is it? There's a lot to work out here because
that's the questions they have to figure out.
There's a ton of stuff to figure out here.
Correct.
I am excited. I'm excited that it's starting somewhere. My hesitation is twofold here. Brooks, and I apologize. I'm taking up the majority of the
No, that's okay.
Here,
Go for it.
But I apologize.
Good.
I'm going to come at it from the other side. They're not involved with MLS. And everybody, now let's put it this way. Someone in England or someone in Europe or anybody anywhere in the world who's watching this is going to go, oh, that's awesome. They've got Pro-Rel in USA now. That's really cool. Yeah. So USL,
how's the top of the pyramid split?
Where's MLS?
Correct.
That's what everybody in the world, so everybody in England goes, MLS is your top league.
Yeah.
So how does MLS fit into this? Now, there's two silos in U.S. soccer. One is MLS and the other is USL. Yeah. This is how this works here. Yeah. Will they ever merge? We don't
know.
I highly doubt it, but we never know. We'll see if money brings them together in the future. But I can guarantee in the next couple of years, they're not going to merge. Nothing like that's going to happen. But that's my one little sticking point of you got this other league out there you're competing against, and who knows if in a year they go, you know what, we're going to compete against your Pro-Rel. We're going to do Pro-Rel as well, and we're going to have second and third division teams, and that's how we're going to do it. Yeah. My other little sticking point is there might be Pro-Rel within the 3 divisions of USL, but it's still a closed pyramid. You can't drop out.
Amateur teams can't get the pro.
Can't.
Correct.
So
that is not what we call as a true. Now listen, there actually are, like if you do go through Europe, like Finland and all those, there are ones that really don't let the amateur teams go up, and there is a ceiling for.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
But the true one everybody thinks about is Germany, Italy, England,
La Liga,
like
Spain, yep.
It's like, oh, I come from 6th division and I work my way up, and it's because it's a beautiful thing when you're in an amateur club and you start.
We've seen it. We've all bought into We Are Wrexham, right?
Mm-hmm. Welcome to Wrexham. Yeah.
Welcome to Wrexham. That's it. We've all bought. We Are Wrexham's the name of our Facebook group that we help run. And DJ Hobley does a phenomenal job, by the way. Yes. If you're not signed up for We Are Wrexham, sign up for our Facebook group. It's phenomenal. Put some good stuff in there. Anyway, welcome to Wrexham. That's the true fairy tale story.
It is
a club that's
on come from amateur
hasn't been up for years.
Correct.
And has just been down on their luck. A community that just follows the team, but they're not very good. Owners come in, put a little money into it, move up a level. That's excitement. I mean, just oh my God, do so much for the community, and all of a sudden, wait, they put more money and they move up again.
Correct.
And then again, and in 2 years they could find themselves in a Premiership if they keep on this rise. I mean, it'd be a huge fairy tale. But anyway,
correct.
That's what we really want to see.
But I'm
currently that can't quite happen with the USL state.
I'm okay with this partial closed system. Like, I'll call it partial closed because it's open, but it's because you can move up pro leagues, but you can't go to amateur to pro. But for me, it prevents people that don't. I think soccer, when you own a team, whether it's amateur or these guys that buy these League One, MLS Next Pro, championship clubs, there's still a learning curve. I mean, I tell my friends all the time, I hope USL Championship or the USL headquarters or MLS runs these people that have no idea about soccer. You get a PowerPoint presentation, you get like a seminar, you run into a seminar and you're like, this is what soccer is. Like, this is how it works. This is what it looks like. And either they don't do it and people don't pay attention, but like we're still very not soccer smart in this country when it comes to running.
Right.
So if you fully went open with it, it could be a disastrous setback for USL because there could be very highly ambitious people in USL too. They're like, well, I pay a lot of money and I do very well, and I go up to the USL League One, and it's like, oh God, my budget like tripled.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, it's to prevent the people that are ambitious but soccer morons from coming in to do that, because, you know, then that's when you start, well, I don't like at NISA, like, oh, I'm going to put all my money in, oh, this I can't make money in this. Like, how, like, that's why NISA and ASL folded the second one, because there were morons that didn't know what to do.
Sure.
And, you know, so, but that's what it's preventing. So it is open enough to where you get a taste of it, but it's not fully open to where the morons can't, you know, start, you know, we lose teams because we've lost so many pro clubs in this country.
I hope at some point they open it up
Yeah.
and I can form a club or a team and move up in. It'd be great. Yeah. All right. My other, I'll say, little sticking point or kind of sourpuss grapes about is they still want to do playoffs. They've said they still are trying to figure out how to do pro rel and keep playoffs.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, in all honesty, just effing get rid of playoffs. You don't need playoffs, okay? It just isn't needed. The Premiership has come down several years to the last game, where you're looking at 2 or 3 games at the top of the table and 2 or 3 games at the bottom of the table, and it's so freaking exciting because it means so much. Now, you can have playoffs for the lower divisions, right? So in the English Championship,
Yes.
you've got the top 2 teams who finish 1 and 2 automatically move up. Teams 3, 4, 5, and 6 go into a little playoff with each other, right?
Correct.
3 plays 6, 4 plays 5.
Correct.
Winners play each other at Wembley.
Yep.
Winning team is that third promoted team. So you can do that.
Yes.
But I feel like they want to really continue the American tradition of playoffs when it's not needed in our sport.
So how about that first quote we bring up, the one where we talk about where you know, the fans and everyone get to decide.
There's your quote. There you go.
Yeah. So, you know, it says here, so like, you know, the USL is going to work with owners, TV partners, and fans to determine exactly its pro rel system will look like. Then Paul McDonough pointed out that an American league has a unique problem. It needs to be put on the spotlight in both its playoffs, because it's very American at playoffs, as we talked about, that determine a league champion as well as pro rel battle. So how it balances those two respective competitions is crucial. So I like the aspect of, we're going to survey the fans. We're going to survey the owners. We're going to ask our TV guys. So that's CBS right now.
Sure.
And currently ESPN. Now, will ESPN want them? I don't know, but I know CBS likes it because, you know, their ratings seem to do very well, and people said that USL, you know, championship final, championship playoff match had better numbers than MLS's did.
Sure.
You know, and that was a noon game or a 10 a.m. game in Colorado Springs, you know, because it was 2 hours behind, and it just worked for some reason. I don't know why. It had good numbers and it worked.
I feel like they're just trying to shoehorn playoffs in because they've had success with it in the past, when if you just say we're getting rid of it and watch the pro rel, there's nothing wrong with doing promotion relegation for a year or two and then going, you know what, we're gonna rethink this. I mean, it happens all the time. Excuse me. Why don't we bring up your other quote here? We'll continue on.
Oh, and then we read some comments here.
Oh yeah, please.
So we have some guys, people tune on YouTube.
Hi guys.
Tom Farrell's tuning in. He says, happy birthday, Nate. BX Gunner 81, I can't wait for Average Joe's FC to make a debut. So if that ever gets to the full open system, there you go.
I like it. I like it.
Yep.
I like it. And by the way, Detroit Bullets as well.
Yes.
Get that open. Our over 40 team will skyrocket through those leagues right up into USL Division 1.
Exactly.
Me and Scotty Emmer can put a team together.
Yeah. BX Gunner 81, again, USL will give a lot more exposure and availability to hidden gems and unnoticed quality. I do agree with that. If it's, you know, even now with the partial open system, I think it still will. When it's fully open, I think you'll see that. Mark J, pointless to have playoffs and promotion relegation. Do it like English Championship, not like college basketball.
Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Absolutely. There's no effing need for playoffs. And if you really got to shoehorn it, do it at the 2 lower divisions of it.
Sure.
Okay.
Leave Division 1 alone, let the other 2 divisions do the playoffs. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I had a thought I wanted to add in there, but that last comment just took it away from me because I agreed 100% with it.
Perfect. Second quote.
Okay, second quote from Paul Tenorio coming up. Yes, sir. Hold on, I think I just moved a bunch of stuff around. Oh, boy, how did I do that? Oh, jeez. Okay.
Yep.
There's your first quote.
That was the first one,
Let me get rid of that one. There you go.
Yep. So USL will study variations of Pro Rel, including the possibility of having the top teams from a lower division play in a playoff against the bottom teams from a higher division to determine if teams move up or down. So very much like, which talk about championship and Premier League, that's where our Bundesliga, I'd say it's more of, where that third place team, in the Bundesliga challenges the Bundesliga 2 team. That's what that looks like to me.
Yes. So if people,
which I like.
If people aren't aware, in the Bundesliga and Bundesliga 2, this is how it happens. Your bottom 2 teams, so the teams that finish 18th and 17th, you're gone. You go down to Bundesliga 2.
Yes.
See you later. The team that finishes 16th plays against the team that finishes 3rd in Bundesliga 2. And they go into a home and away little playoff.
That's what that sounds like from that quote. And they're considering it, which I'm fine with.
And maybe
a lot of leagues do that in Europe.
Right. Maybe they don't have all the answers right now.
Correct.
And they're thinking.
But they have a premise.
We have a premise. I'm okay with that. Yes. I like where that is going.
Yes.
Okay.
Third quote. Yes.
For Paul Tenorio. Hopefully I don't screw up any of the more graphics. Hold on. Here we go.
So this is kind of a continuation of the last one. So much is still to be determined, including the number of teams that will go down and up from each division, respectfully. USL also must determine how many teams will play in Division 1, and then they're saying, they're aiming for 12 to 14 teams. The third division, USL League 1, will be, and like we said, established as the bottom of the pyramid.
Sure.
And teams would not be relegated from there. So I'm fine with how that starts. I'm completely fine with that. But that's all we pretty much know from those quotes in that story. That's all we know of how things will work. The parachute payments we don't know about. I'm sure they're going to talk about that. I think it's very important for teams because they're not MLS standard where they're making hundreds of millions of dollars. These teams are not necessarily breaking, even a lot of them in USO.
Yep.
So I think it's imperative that you have some type of parachute payment and hopefully sponsors pick up so then teams can make more money.
With this new Pro Rel in USL that they plan on rolling out in 2028, more TV will get involved.
Yes.
TV, more sponsors will get. It's going to bring a lot more money into the sport in that side of the sport. Again, for those watching who may not know the difference between USL and MLS, MLS is its own system, own franchise system. That sits over here. USL sits over here. 2 completely different siloed leagues.
Yes.
That's one of the big problems that we have in this country with soccer.
Yes.
It is what it is. That's just the way it is. Now, here's our ironic. Let me speak properly. Here's the ironic thing, Brooks. I read an article a couple of years back after I think it was 2019, 2020 season finished MLS.
Yep.
They surveyed a bunch of players. They surveyed all the players, actually all the players in the MLS. And they said, what do you want to change about the league? 52% of the players in MLS said, we want to see promotion-relegation in this league.
Yep.
Now, you might not think that's a big percentage.
That's almost half the players.
More than half the players. The other 48% was dispersed among several other topics.
And they were probably on the fence
random
they didn't want it, yeah.
Right. But promotion, relegation, almost more than half the players said we want it. It's not coming to your league, MLS. It's going to your competitive league. All right. So
we have a funny quote here on a second.
All right, read that off, and then we'll finish this up.
Yeah.
Go for it, buddy.
So Mark J., if you're relegated from USL League 1, all players should have to play the next season in Taylor Swift wigs. There has to be a drawback for being bad.
I like that.
Yeah.
I
like that one too.
Well done. All right, we got a lot to get to today.
Yeah, the one thing I just want to finish with.
He wants to add some more.
One more. So it was a great question they had in our We Are Soccer private Facebook group.
Join the group if you haven't. Facebook group We Are Soccer. Join it if you haven't already.
The gentleman tied the announcement of the promotion relegation to USL for the reaction of what MLS Next made that tier 2 and absorb more of the youth leagues. He was like, is it that or is it something else? And I made the comment, I said, listen, it's not, I think MLS Next and EU stuff is totally separate from USL because many USL academies besides Louisville City who have sold the Winder brothers, one to LA Galaxy, the one to Benfica, so Josh and Elijah.
Sure.
And they have a few other guys they brought up their academy. Most academy quote unquote academy players that have come through USL have been kids that have left their MLS academies because there was no place for them to play above, and they didn't want to play for the second team. So like a Fidel Barajas, who was it was blocked at the first team level, goes to Charleston Battery, does well for a few years, gets sold to RSL, and then RSL sell him to Chivas Guadalajara. Or Matthew Corcoran at FC Dallas, who goes to Birmingham Legion, and then this year he just got bought from Birmingham Legion by Nashville SC. And there's been plenty of other, players and whatnot. So for me, the promotion relegation piece from USL, because MLS has talked about MLS 1, 2, and 3. They have talked about that. It's not been serious, but they have talked about it.
Yep.
This reaction is because MLS Next Pro and these independent clubs, the West Michigan, the Grand Rapids team, Chattanooga FC that was once in NISA that moved to MLS Next Pro, Carolina Core, a team in Cleveland's popping up. There's a couple other ones. Oh, there's one in Connecticut that's popping up in MLS Next Pro. This reaction to me for USL to do the promotion relegation is because if you're going to battle for the same city between MLS Next Pro and USL, you've now given the people that want to start the franchise a reason, hey, I can join a league where I can actually move up from each pro division from 3 to 2 to 1, rather than just sit in this MLS Next Pro league and play MLS second teams and, hope that we do well, and, because they're not going to draw good crowds with them. So this is, in my opinion, the reaction to what USL did. Now, they've talked about this for a couple of years, this pro rel for USL, but it needed to be done to stop this, so they had a chance to keep surviving.
Yep.